Is it possible to connect with that teeny tiny little baby growing inside you during your first trimester? Hi, I'm Nicole Kaufman, and today we're going to talk about just that. I'm going to give you 4 powerful ways that you can connect with the baby growing inside you as early as the first trimester. Because not only is it possible, but it's a powerful and a beautiful experience that will begin a bond between you and your baby that will last a lifetime. So go ahead and give this video a like if you're excited, and let's get started. Congratulations on your pregnancy. The first trimester is an exciting time, but it can also be really, really tough. You probably are experiencing a lot of symptoms and a lot of new things that aren't the most pleasant. I know for me, I experienced a lot of different morning sickness type symptoms. I experienced a lot of fatigue, a lot of anxiety, a lot of headaches. And so it's kind of hard to sometimes enjoy this time, even though people tell you to enjoy it. I was like, what do you mean enjoy it? I feel awful. But during the first trimester, it's a really powerful time that you can begin this bond with your baby. And so I think it's really important to be intentional about that. Even though your baby, by the end of the first trimester, is going to be just the size of a small little lemon, which is actually a lot bigger than in the beginning, that tiny little poppy seed that it starts out as. So let's talk about some ways that you can connect with your baby during the first trimester and begin to grow that beautiful bond. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is to start a pregnancy journal. So this is something that I wish I had started a little bit sooner. I had always wanted to, but I didn't really have a journal to write in, and I didn't really want to just write in my regular old journal. And so I put it off for a few weeks, but my friend actually gifted me this journal, which is the Erin Condren pregnancy journal, and I love it. I was super excited and immediately began trying to recount the previous weeks. It does go week by week. So I'll show you just from the second trimester. Here's a little example. So there's actually space to write down your weight, your belly size. It gives you a little fun fact about the size of the baby, different things like cravings, health, and then you have this big section here to just journal about each week. And I actually really love doing this and found that it really helped me, especially in the beginning, to connect with my baby. Not only would I write down my symptoms and my experiences, but I would find that I would write little notes to the baby. And at the end of each trimester, there's a little section that you can actually write, kind of recap, or just write a long little thing. And I actually ended up writing a letter to the baby, which was really, really awesome way for me to bond with the baby that, still didn't even really feel like my body was showing, and it didn't really feel completely real yet. So I really think the pregnancy journal is a really awesome way to get started with that bond and begin to grow that connection as you begin to connect with your baby by writing things down. I also love this little thing that came with a set of stickers, and there's other stickers that she also gifted me as well. So it's fun to just pop them throughout, first ultrasound, heard the baby's heartbeat, those kinds of things. Eventually you'll be able to put, it's a boy, it's a girl, something like that. So I loved the pregnancy journal. That was a really fun way to start getting connected and start growing that bond early on in the first trimester. The second thing that really, really helps to connect you with your baby this early on is to start dreaming. I found this really hard because I struggled with a lot of anxiety. I know I've talked about this before in my previous video, which I'll link to below, but I really was afraid to get connected and to grow that bond because I was afraid something would go wrong. But I had a friend who was really, really encouraging, and she ended up saying that, you should get as attached as you want, because no matter what, this baby inside me, as early as the first trimester, is our baby, and it's a growing human being inside my body, and so it's okay to get attached, and it's okay to create that bond. And so this kind of freed me and helped me to start dreaming a little bit and get excited about some of the things that would be coming in just a few short months. So I started dreaming about things like the nursery, baby names, and even just things like holding my baby and just getting really excited for what's to come. So I'd love for you to comment below, what do you dream about during your first trimester when it still seems so far off that you're going to be having and welcoming a little baby into your home? But what do you dream about as you think about your baby and just a few short months when you will be bringing that baby home? So the third thing that I would really recommend that you start doing even as early as the first trimester is to start talking to your baby. So I know it kind of feels a little bit crazy at first sometimes, especially if you're not used to doing anything like that. I I felt kind of like a crazy person the first time I did it. I actually remember the moment, and as crazy as I felt, as soon as I did it, I actually just immediately felt this powerful bond start to grow. I know your baby can't really hear you in the first trimester, and now I'm actually in my second trimester now, and the baby can hear your voice and is starting to learn your voice. So it's kind of fun talking to the baby now because you know that the baby's also growing that bond. But in the beginning, I think it's a powerful way to connect you to your baby and to start growing your bond. Just saying little things you're excited about, things that this baby is already teaching you. I remember I learned so much during that time, those first few months. And I love just being able to kind of share those little tidbits. And I was just overwhelmed with emotion, which could also just be the emotional hormones from pregnancy. But every time I would say a little thing to the baby. So it was a really fun way to begin to get connected as early as the first trimester. So I definitely recommend just give it a try. Just say a few little words to your baby and see how you feel. And you might feel crazy. So maybe you won't do it again, but I really recommend trying to do it a couple of times and just say a few things to your baby and start that bond, which is going to last a lifetime. The fourth thing that I really, really recommend, and this is sometimes I think the most powerful way to begin that bond and connect with your baby early on, is to pray for your baby. Pray over your baby, pray over areas of your baby's life. I actually got this book a little bit later into my pregnancy, The Power of a Praying Parent, and I really wish I had it earlier on. I knew it was out there and I kind of had it on my list but hadn't actually invested in it yet. I love these books, The Power of a Praying Wife, The Power of a Praying Woman, The Power of a Praying Parent. They're really awesome, and they just walk you through strategic and specific ways to pray for areas of your husband's life, your life, and your baby's life. And so I definitely recommend this book. It goes through so many different specific areas and just gives you powerful tools to pray and verses to pray over your baby. But in the beginning, I actually started by just writing in a prayer journal. I had this one moment where I was thinking about breastfeeding, and I was thinking about, I had been reading a lot about people who it didn't work out or something went wrong, or all of these different, almost like horror stories of like, I really wanted to breastfeed and this happened. And so I remember I was getting a little bit nervous even though it was so early on. And I was talking to a friend and she was like, that was such an important thing to me. I prayed every single day of my pregnancy for that. And I just kind of sat there and it just hit me like, why am I not praying about this? And so I did start praying about that, and it kind of gave me more ideas as to like specific areas I could pray, not only about my pregnancy, but the birth and then the baby's life and different aspects of the baby's life when the baby would be born. And so it was hard at first. Me and my husband, when we would sit down to pray, we pretty much found ourselves always praying that the baby would continue to grow and be healthy. And it was kind of hard to think of other areas to pray for. So that's why I really love this book. And it just walks you through specific areas, or just writing down prayers about specific things that are on your heart in a prayer journal is also a really great way to pray over your baby. So these 4 things I really loved as a way to connect with your baby, because the first trimester you're early on and so many things are new and exciting and sometimes icky and not fun to deal with. But I really think it's a powerful time that you can begin this bond with your baby and begin to connect with your baby in ways that you wouldn't have if you weren't trying to be intentional. So if you liked this video, if you found anything helpful, or I'd love to hear if you have any other ways that you've connected with your baby early on, any other suggestions. But go ahead and subscribe if you liked the video. There will be more videos coming with pregnancy tips and all things pregnancy, as well as just other areas of my life and Reliving Made Simple posts. So go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in more. Hit that little bell and you'll be notified when there are more. And I will see you next time. Bye.